everyone, today I'll be doing an easy to understand emblem system guide. So unlike my other emblem system guide like I did, that was very much more brief, surface level, not really much in depth. And after about a week of testing and trying out bunch of different things, I will be doing a short explanation on what every single one does, how to use every single one, and when to use every single one. And I mean by each emblem based on your role or your position you're playing. So we'll start off with the common emblem. The common emblem, you really don't want to use this on very many heroes. The only heroes who could actually use this are ones that are extremely mana dependent and rely on their mana for damage. So when I say mana dependent and rely on mana for damage, I don't mean like Claude, because Claude, even though he is mana dependent, you need stats from either Assassin or Marksman emblem for him to actually do damage and work. You just have to tough it up and either build Demon Shoes or have just really bad mana regen. Now I would say the only hero I can think of that comes to mind that actually works with the common emblem is Alice, because Alice's entire kit revolves around just her insane mana consumption. Maybe Sicilian, but Sicilian, it's like arguably you can just wait out to your stacks to reset and use your stuff, and you get a lot of mana items anyway. I wouldn't build it on heroes like Uranus or Esme, because they're the same situation as Claude, where they really need that move speed, that CDR, that support emblem offers, or like HP that tank or fire emblem would offer, or sustain that fire emblem would offer. Just really, I can only think of Alice can use this emblem. As for tank emblem, typical tanks, roams, nothing really too surprising here. Frontline tankers would use this, all that good stuff. Assassins, kind of self-explanatory. Pick out assassins. Honestly, mages should use this emblem too. Mage emblem, I would say most mages shouldn't even use this emblem. Use assassin emblem. I already made a video talking about all that whatnot, giving examples and comparisons. Conclusion: mages should use this emblem. Assassins use this emblem. Even some marksmen can use this emblem. Like I said, not really a good emblem. The only situation I can think you use this emblem is if you're playing, I could say one good example is Harith. Mages that require or need or can be really useful with high amounts of CDR, where you would go this kind of setup where you go double CDR. Like Harith, you kind of have to do this if you want to have your instant dashes. I tried Novaria with this. It's okay. You basically just get max CDR with typical book truncheon clock build. Overall, I would say stick this to just CDR mages. Most mages, artillery ones and whatnot, use assassin emblem. The penetration benefits you a lot more. So does the attack speed, or move speed, sorry. Fighter emblem, really OP right now, I would say, for most fighters, because the 10% spell vamp you get. Any sustained fighter should use this emblem. A lot of us fighters can actually use assassin emblem now because the penetration benefits them a lot. I would say only use this emblem if you're a sustained fighter. If you're a fighter that's meant for damage, let's say Freya, big damage, Lapu could go either or, Yuzong could go either or as well, actually. Terizla, sustained fighter, supposed to tank a lot of damage. Thamus, sustained fighter, tank a lot of damage, not too mobile. Use this emblem so you can make the most of it. Support emblem, honestly, this emblem has the most flexibility out of all the other emblems, because you can literally use it on almost anyone. With the 6% move speed, which is a lot, mind you, it opens up your first talent to choose more damage options instead of going for move speed, and the cooldown reduction, that's good on every hero. Marksman emblem, marksman's only. Don't use this on anyone else but marksman's. Some marksmen can use assassin, but realistically just stick with marksman on this emblem. I don't think melee heroes are good with marksman emblem at all, because I think physical penetration benefits melee heroes much more. Attack speed or adaptive attack and lifesteal do. Now we have all that out of the way, the basic surface emblems. Let's go into the talents. Starting off with Thrill, I would say don't really use this too much. Penetration is always much more valuable than actual pure stats, because you do more damage with penetration, and this is not really a lot of stats. You can always build a longsword or a dagger for getting damage, right? But there is no quick items you can build except Fury Hammer for penetration. Think about it that way. Swift, I would say only use this on immobile attack speed heroes. When I say immobile, I mean heroes like Melissa. Well, not necessarily immobile, but ones that don't move around when they attack, or they have some sort of mechanism that lets them latch onto the enemy. So I would say Argus or Thamus, since they have their jumps, or Argus slows them down and gets move speed, Thamus keeps leaping on them. They really can use Swift and utilize it quite well, because constant more attack speed, they don't need the move speed too much. Melissa is one I like to use Swift on, because she kind of just stands still and spams autos after she dashes with her second skill. Not like too many crazy running around. Vitality, I would say only go Vitality on heroes that actually use HP for like damage, or they use HP as part of their kit. One good example is Fredrin. Fredrin's healing or his damage for his ultimate is based on how much health he has. So I would say Vitality is really good with him, or tank junglers, because with tank junglers, your retry burn damage is scaling based on your health. So Vitality is also pretty good for that as well. Penetration, Rupture, I explained earlier. Penetration, much more valuable than pure stats. You can't really get penetration unless you build penetration items. And especially for mages, Rupture is quite useful, because the only penetration mage item is Genius Wand and Arcane Boots. Inspire, why is it called Inspire? What? Why is it called? I just noticed. Why is it called Inspire? Okay, the CDR rune, Inspire. I would say only use it on heroes that really need that CDR for their kit to work. Now, the only hero I can think of that comes to mind is Harith. Harith needs that 5% plus 5% from an emblem or 10% overall to get his unlimited dashes with just Calamity and or Starlium Scythe and Magic Shoes. You could use it on other mages that are more long range. Novaria is one that I can name that's actually quite okay with Inspire because Novaria plays so back and so safe anyway, where she doesn't need the move speed too much or anything else really. Firmness, as for how to use this, I can only think of a good way to use this would be very immobile heroes that are backline heroes that are squishy, where move speed will not matter in helping you escape. Now, examples of this are, I will show you in a moment here. I use this emblem in a Melissa game versus Natalia all the way back here. And you can see I tanked quite a bit, almost the most damage on our team when we have a tank Grok. Not the damage Grok. You get my point. I took that emblem and I took Tenacity tier 2, which gives you more defense when you're under half HP. And because I had a Natalia who was camping my lane the whole game, and you know, Kag as well, who kept ulting me. I think for certain situations like this where they have instantaneous burst on you no matter what you do, however you move, say if they have Haya, for example, I would also follow the same logic where movement speed or health will not really help you get away from a Haya, and you might as well just take those bonus stats to help you defend against them. It might not seem like much, but those stats stacked along with Tenacity or other defense items you might get are going to make a lot of difference in the early game, mid game, and late game. Agility, you know, movement speed, nothing really too crazy about this. You should run this rune if you're not major support emblem. And it's just overall move speed, really good, nothing goes wrong with it. Fatal, only used on crit heroes, kind of self-explanatory. Crit damage, crit chance, you're not going to build us on anything but crit heroes. Now on to tier 2, Life Drain. This is a very peculiar one. I've tried it on a few heroes, and I think one hero it's really good on is Alduis, because Alduis you kind of dive in for your stacks and you take a lot of damage going for them. This helps you sustain a lot more. Another role that this could actually be pretty good for mid lane, because mid lane there's 4 minions, but it's more just like you have to try it out and see how you like it. Me in particular, I would never use this emblem, but I know people who try it and say they like it because they have a hard time keeping themselves alive or not taking damage. That's like that's a whole nother problem entirely. But if this makes it easier for you, go for it. You're all good, you know. Season Hunter, bonus jungle damage. It is a nerfed version of the previous jungle emblem, Lord Killer, I think is what it's called before. And now your objective to damage to objectives is only 15% instead of 20, and the damage to monsters is half of that 15%, which is 7.5%. Tenacity. This is something that can be gone on any character, any hero, any role really. It just depends on how you want to go about it. For like I showed you in that Melissa game earlier, I ran that on her because I was a very squishy and mobile hero and they had a lot of dive. I think if you know you're going to get dived, let's say they have an Natalia, Ling, Hayabusa, or any sort of bush camp assassin, Goosh, and Kadita, I think running this is quite good if you don't trust yourself to not get caught by those heroes. If you believe in yourself and you have confidence that in your map awareness to where you won't get caught, go for it. For me, I will run this if I want to have an easier game. I'll just suck it up, take it. Sure, you'll do less damage in the early game or maybe have less opportunities, but in the end, it'll definitely save your life at least once. Master Assassin honestly really isn't that good. I overrated it in my tier list, and looking back, I honestly would swap the places of these two. I think Tenacity is actually like really versatile and good, while Master Assassin, since the nerf of it goes down to 4% instead of 7% like it was before, almost lost half the benefits, and it's just really like it really isn't that worth it for the bonus damage. It is noticeable, don't get me wrong, but other options I'll show you in a moment are probably better. Bargain Hunter, I would really only go this if I was impatient. This is really something you could go on any hero, even though there are better options. If you could go if you want. Like this is like tier 2, a lot of it's more just comfort, whichever ones you prefer more. Me, I only really go Bargain Hunter on mages. I don't really go on other heroes. I think mages need their items, like they need their clock of Destiny ASAP. I don't really go with other heroes too much. Festival of Blood, same thing as the older one. You pick it up for spell vamp, you pick it up for healing. You want to, you know, sustain and whatnot. That's what you do it for. Nothing really new there. Pull Yourself Together is actually like heavily underrated, or maybe people think it's good and I thought it was underrated. But combining this with almost any hero goes well. I would say specifically heroes that are extremely reliant on their spells for their kit to work are the best to use this emblem. Examples for that would be Yuzong with his Petrify combo engage, Freya with her Inspire combo engage for big burst, Kadita with her Petrify combo engage, or tank set heroes like Kufra flicker combo ult, Minnow flicker combo ult, Lolita flicker combo ult. You know it. I would not say go for junglers because Season Hunter is probably a better alternative, but as for the rest of the heroes that I mentioned, you know, set heroes, damage reliant, engage heroes, that kind of stuff, perfect with this emblem. I honestly say I prefer to go this over anything anything else with those heroes. Weapon Master, this is also another one where it's very comfort-esque, you know, preference based. I don't usually go this. I would go it on, I tried it on Joy, I've tried it on Leslie. I think Lings do go this. It's pretty good with Ling. Again, like I said, preference for that kind of thing. A lot of the emblems, contrary to what people think, are ultimately preference. There isn't like a 100% yet best one or not best one yet. It is mostly preference. All right, for tier 3, Impure Rage. What Impure Rage does is you hit someone, you get back 2% mana with a skill, you do a bit of damage. That's it. If you don't have mana, you actually regen a bit of HP. Keep that in mind. But I would say if you were getting it for the HP aspect, you're better off going Brave Smite. Quantum Charge. Honestly, it got nerfed a bit in comparison to Electro Flash. I would not go this on most heroes. Most marksmen that used to go before, I would say are better off going Weakness Finder. I would say marksmen that could go this now, the only one I can really think of is Irithel that would actually be good with it. Every other marksman that used to go Electro Flash, I think are better off running Weakness Finder. Concussive Blast is almost useless now, almost. It's really only good for tank junglers who want the faster clear, and even then with those tank junglers, most of the time you're better off going Brave Smite. It's only in like high tier pro play with like they actually care about the difference this would make for those kind of faster jungle clear. I would almost never go this, considering just Brave Smite is such a better option for tanks. Killing Spree only goes if you're going to snowball or if you're on a hero that really relies on kills. You know, Marius ult kind of thing, assassins killing someone kind of thing. Lethal Ignition. This, I love this on almost any single damage hero with combos. Now, something that people don't know about Lethal Ignition is that if you read closely, it has to be enemy heroes max HP 3 times within 5 seconds. What that means is not with any damage within 5 seconds. That means with 3 individual hits within 5 seconds will actually proc it. What that means is if you're playing a mage like Valentina, for example, you will never proc Lethal Ignition until late game. Reason being, Valentina's first skill chunks for a bit of damage, but by no means 7% of health. Her damage comes from comboing that first skill with her dashes. But if you first skill then dash, your dash is a bunch of tiny little ticks, like 3 or 4 tiny little ticks of damage that will not do 7% of damage. And then you do another first skill. Now that will not proc it because it needs 3 individual hits that do enough damage for the 7% max HP. So other mages similar to that would be Chang'e, because she has a bunch of little bits of damage with her ult and first skill. It would never proc this. Mages that could proc this would be mages like Novaria, if her second skill does big damage in the mid game. Kagura with her first skill, ult, combo, first skill. Now this is just mages, for example. I'll give a bit more in a moment. Did you see what I'm saying here, where it has to be big chunks of damage and not it's little bits of damage? I like running this on Yuzong. Yuzong, if you do your Petri, then you go back second skill with your first skill. Your first skill usually does a lot of damage, especially in the early game with Yuzong. That alone might almost do 7% of damage. So if you Petri and guarantee that little outside rim damage of Yuzong, and then you finish your whole combo, I can almost guarantee you that this will proc. At least if you do in the early game before they get armor. So I like to run this on certain fighters that are really good combo based. Other burst mages, even assassins, burst assassins could use this. Heptases. Heptases and auto proc, if you're fed enough, or if you're snowballing as an assassin, will proc Lethal Ignition with like, you know, another skill. Haya, you know, dash, auto first skill will probably proc Lethal Ignition, but sometimes you might just prefer to go Killing Spree. Joy, her passive does big damage. Or Bolt, for example. First tick of ult with proc Lethal Ignition, or your first skill and 2-second skills with proc Lethal Ignition. But then again, you know, small bits of damage do not proc this. So heroes that you might think do burst damage, like Valentina, will never proc this if you really think about it, you know, them doing enough damage within that short span of time. Brave Smite, really good on any sort of tanky fighter hero. Any tank can really use this. Like that's just how it is. It gives you an insane amount of healing, insane amount of sustain. You don't even have to recall with this thing half the time. You can just keep skilling, keep using your skills on like jungle camps or minion waves to regen that HP back. Focusing Mark, this is particularly for set heroes or support heroes. Makes your allies do more damage to that hero. You yourself do not do bonus damage to this hero. Don't mistake it. It says allied do bonus damage. So only your allies that are nearby that do damage to this person will actually take that bonus damage, not you yourself. So set heroes are really good with this. Kufra, you go in with your ult, you know, collapse the cheeks, Minnow ult, Minnow knockup, Kajo ult, Franco ult, that kind of stuff. Weakness Finder, really only limited to, it's basically what marksmen should go almost most of the time, if I'm gonna be honest. Marksman's probably Killing Spree, Weakness Finder, you should be going all the time. I don't think Quantum Charge is really that good, except for like Irithel, who can actually use the move speed for her passive. Yeah, nothing really too crazy to explain here. I don't think melee heroes, even with attack speed, should run this. The only one I think that comes to mind is maybe Argus, because he's like just suicidal. Maybe Sun, but I think Sun would be better off with going Brave Smite or Killing Spree, because you're Sun anyway. anyway. We just find it really only limited to marksman's and then Argus maybe. That's it. I hope this much more in-depth explanation helps those for you that are still confused. I really don't know how else I could explain this in a more simple way, unless I just like hand you the list of heroes that you can use every single one. I will be making a follow-up video to this, giving you example emblem sets for each role, and that will be posted later. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye bye.